Don't forget, you can reach the latest episode of Potomac Watch anytime. Just ask your smart speaker, play the Opinion Potomac Watch podcast.
From the opinion pages of the Wall Street Journal, this is Potomac Watch.
Welcome back to Potomac Watch. I'm Kim Strassel here with Bill McGurn and Kate Batchelder Odell. Bill, everybody suddenly has Nikki Haley in their sights. We heard that earlier clip from the Trump campaign going after her on the border. He has also attacked her recently, claiming, and unfairly, I should note, that she's in favor of higher taxes. He suggested she was in favor of raising a gas tax. She noted that, in fact, she was asking for a gas tax that would be paired with an income tax cut and that she would have vetoed a standalone gas tax. So make of that what you will. But DeSantis has also really been laying into her in the last week. Let's listen to a clip of him questioning her authenticity.
She's phony. You know, she doesn't have core set of convictions. She's coming in here. She's trying to be relatable, but just doesn't get Iowa. And I think that's becoming more and more apparent. And here's the thing. Her, quote, rise was media driven. There's not a lot of grassroots energy. You can talk to all these activists here. They're not seeing it. It's been media driven. But now that she's facing scrutiny, what they giveth, they can taketh away. And so I think you're going to start to see, a lot of turbulence just because she's not good off script. She can take the scripted questions the minute she's got to improvise. We saw it in New Hampshire a week ago with some of the other stuff she's had to deal with. So I think that's going to be par for the course. And as Republicans, you need to have a candidate that's going to be able to handle this.
Bill, pretty tough stuff, although I have a sneaking feeling that this is primarily being driven by some alarm in the DeSantis campaign that she might beat him in Iowa. And that, as Kate laid out, could be a real problem for him going forward. Am I wrong, or what do you make of these attacks on her?
As I said before, the most dangerous place to be in 2024 is second behind Trump in Republican primaries. When she was third or fourth or fifth, no one really cared much. But now people are worried she might win. That includes Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis, but I think it also includes the media. When DeSantis was the clear number two, he was attacked all the time in the press. Now it's Haley's turn because Nikki Haley does better in the polls than Trump against Biden.
And let's look at her rise just in particular over the last 6 weeks. We were talking earlier about expectations management. Another aspect of primaries, pundits love to throw around the word, is talking about when a candidate peaks and if they do it too early or too late. And I would say this for Haley, she's had pretty good timing. She's been in the race longer than almost anyone else, but she's done a pretty good job of managing her money. And just lately, she has had a great run of it, which is what I'm assuming is all of this in generating all of these attacks. She just announced some very good fundraising numbers for the final quarter of 2023. I think she doubled her taking from the quarter before that. She's pulled in just lately an endorsement from Chris Sununu, the very popular governor of New Hampshire. And she looks to be rising in the polls right when it matters. Kate, talk about her potential path to clearing the field, if she could. And also a little bit, it's notable that she's not doing any better than DeSantis in Iowa. She's doing significantly better in New Hampshire, where independents can vote. That certainly is a nod to her and a tick in her favor. Were she the nominee, it certainly suggests that she would perform, as Bill said, better against Joe Biden. But how does that really play when you end up then in a state like South Carolina, which, or other states where you're again in a closed primary? Can she clear the field and end up being the alternative to Trump?
So I'd say a few things. That DeSantis complaint that her polls rising is media driven. If you go back and look at her at the beginning of the Republican primaries, you'll see a lot of poll numbers like 1, 3, 5, single digit stuff. And so her rise is a real phenomenon. And I think the main reason for that is that she does have a certain charm and warm personal presence that I think voters like. And I think that speaks to why she's crushing Biden in general election polls by 10 plus points. But again, this field clearing issue is looking like a repeat of 2016 in some ways, where we have some folks auditioning to be the John Kasich of 2024. And so for Haley to get a chance to defeat Trump, she has to get him a one-on-one. And so let's say she comes in second in Iowa, like we've been talking about, and DeSantis gets out, that makes it easier for her. But again, in New Hampshire, you have Chris Christie has put all of his eggs in the New Hampshire basket, and he's got, 10% there? So that's a significant amount of support that if you look at who Christie supporters are, it really seems logical that those voters are Haley voters. So again, if Christie, who's in the race to stop Donald Trump from becoming president, if he stays in the race, he could end up playing spoiler for Haley in New Hampshire. And I go through all that because I think what happens in both of those places is very significant for what the race in South Carolina looks like and what the energy looks like. If Trump is just cruising to victories in both Iowa and New Hampshire, and there doesn't look like there's anybody on his tail, I don't see any path there where somebody could keep contesting him through Super Tuesday, or it simply just gets harder. If, on the other hand, Trump loses New Hampshire and has a showing in Iowa that isn't as good as his campaign is pumping it up to be, then I think what happens in South Carolina, which let's remember is Nikki Haley's home state, doesn't get much luckier than that in politics. That could help her. I think South Carolina is a different story if there is some consolidation. But again, we're not seeing that start to happen. We're not really seeing donors start to insist on it. We're not seeing some other candidates like Chris Christie jump out. So I am concerned that the scenario I just described is not going to materialize and that the field will stay pretty divided.
Yeah, keep your eyes in the next week on Chris Christie. The pressure is obviously rising on him. I saw him, he was asked about this. Why are you not getting out? He made the argument that his voters are not Haley voters. I tend to agree with you, Kate, that I don't think that's necessarily true. But there's going to be a lot of pressure on some of these people that are coming in at lower numbers or placing late to get out. We'll see if they remember what happened in 2016 when a field did divide a lot of the vote and did let Donald cruise, at least after, April, pretty much cruise to victory. So thank you, Bill. Thank you, Kate. We're here every weekday. We'll be back on Monday. You can email us at pwpodcast@wsj.com. And if you like the show, please hit the subscribe button.